Hey guys, this is Hot Noob here, and I'm continuing on with my HTML tutorial here. So this would be part 2 or tutorial 2 or whatever you want to call it. I guess I'll be going over tables, images, getting yourself a standard template set up, and whatever, right? First of all, I wanted to go over that whole word wrap thing. I didn't actually quite get it, so this is what I normally do. I use the pre-tag, right? And as you can see, it's totally different. It's rather nice. The pre-tag is often used for storing code or something, right? And whatnot. Anyway, I don't know why there's that offset. Must be Chrome. Not all browsers handle all of the tags the same way, which is something you have to be aware of. So, yeah. I guess I'm going to start with tables now. Tables are much like divs in a way. The only difference is that they're a table. Some attributes that you should be aware of is cell spacing. This is the space between the cell and cell padding. This is the space that's, you know, between the edge of the cell and your content. So TR stands for table row and TD stands for table data. Right, so pretty much what we have here is one row and one column. TD makes the table columns. Now the thing about tables is if you make one column or two columns here, right, and you're to go on the next row and you're to only make one column, oops, what would happen is this would be on the left. So this would be left and this would be right. Right. The columns always start from left to right, and whatever. So I'm just going to refresh this so you guys can see. Right. So the table tag, the table tag by itself acts sort of like a div tag. Now there's also something that you have to be aware of. If you open a tag, you have to close it in the same order. So as you can see here, I opened the tr tag, table row, then opened the table data, and notice how that I also closed the table data, right? What you don't want to do is put them out of order. So for an example would be div, right? And then if you're to have center here, and then you're to have center closing within the div tag. This won't work very well. Stuff, right? So you're going to get some weird stuff happening, right? It's just a bit more difficult to use and it's not very good practice. It will work with the tags out of order, but it's very unpredictable and you're going to have a lot of issues. So, just going to change this here, style, order, npx solid black, or gray would be better. Oops, come on, okay. Oh, and I forgot to show my mouse again. You're going to have to bear with the lack of my mouse. So, as you can see, the border here, the border tags, and my keyboard stuff not working very well right now, so I'm going to have to use my mouse for Alt-Tab. Oh, there we are. Anyway, as you can see, the border only goes around, the table, right? Let's say you want to get a border on the row. What you can do is you can do on the tr tag, border 1px, let's use dashed black, refresh it. Oh, of course it doesn't do that, right? It's the table rows. That's something you should be aware of with the table rows. Many browsers completely ignore the style sheets for table rows and whatever. So you want to avoid putting styles on the table rows. So let's put it on one of these table data tags, which is a cell, right? Ta-da! It only does it for one cell. Let's say you want to do it for every one of the cells. Now you're getting tricky. This is where style sheets come in hand. Whoops. Okay, oh, God. Hate when that happens. keyboard. Here we are. Yeah, gotta hate the whole multilingual thing. Anyway, what you want to do is you want to go in your head tag, or you could even put this on your body. It really doesn't matter where you put this in, but it's just good practice to put your style sheets at the top. So yeah, with style sheets you can do it like this for a tag, right? Let's say you want to do a tag within a tag. So in our case, we'd want to do TD. So all of the TD tags that are within a table will have this attribute, and border 1px solid. Sorry, we use dashed black. Pretty simple, right? The syntax is a bit different, right? As you notice, you don't have any style equals or whatever, right? But it is essentially the same thing as whatever. Right, so I'll just refresh this, and ta-da, now all of the tag... now they all have the same thing. Let's say you wanted to change this a bit. Let's get rid of the top border. So border top, hyphen top, right? And you'd say 0 or 0px or whatever, right? And it gets rid of the top border. Border left. And now it looks a bit prettier, right? And my computer is freezing up a bit, so you're going to have to bear with that. Alright, so let's get on to images. First of all, we need an image. Let's go on Google and get some random image. Let's go with trees. Something green. Oh, that looks good. I like this one here. There we go, we have a nice image here. I'm just going to save this. You don't want to use other people's images or whatever. That's something you should be aware of. On your website, you should never do what I'm doing here. But I'm not publishing this, so it should be fine, other than the fact that YouTube's probably going to scream at me because I'm using this image as the example. But yeah, so I'm going to show this in folder, and right now we have it in relation to the documents. I'm going to move the page into a nice little folder here. I'm going to call it website or HTML example. Right, then I'm just going to move the my page or whatever, that HTML file. Move that all the way into this folder here so you guys can all see it. And the tree image. Now this is where we test your knowledge of of the file system. Hopefully you guys know how folders and whatever work. So most of the time with HTML you're going to be naming your files in relation to the location of the file you're opening it with. So with mypage.html, in relation to where it's currently located, the URL or the whatever would just be tree. Right, I'm just going to copy that. So I'm going to say, first I'm going to do ref just for example. So it would just be tree whatever, right? You don't have to put in the full URL, the domain or whatever. So tree image, right? This is how the whole file system works. So I'm going to open up the page, Chrome now. Right, tree image, click it, and ta-da! Now let's say you want to embed the image on your page. Let's put it in this nice little column here. So image src equals, whoops, cancel that. I'm pressing random buttons here. And notice how you have the backslash here as well. That's important. Some browsers will not accept the image very well without the backslash. So there you go, ta-da! Now the image will be loaded with the default image size. So if you go open image, new tab, right here you have the image size 450 times 326. In more modern browsers, you can use the style sheets with the max width for whatever parameters if you don't want to calculate the new size. So style, max, let's go height, 150 px, right? If you don't want to actually have to calculate the whole image dimensions, it'll do it for you. So it's a lot easier than just saying, well, you could also just do height 150 px, right? That works too. But the problem with this is you have an uncontrolled width. That's where the whole max comes in. Older browsers do not support this, but most modern browsers will. So you can go ahead and use the whole max thing. You should be aware that Internet Explorer does not handle it very well. The whole max width and whatever. So right, I have 4 minutes or so to teach you guys how to do a basic template now. This is a standard thing to do this. Div, right, so the center tag obviously centers it, and then we got div. Style, let's give this a width. This will be how wide our page will be, right? The whole reason for this is because people have different screen widths, so I'm going to say background color. Let's give it a gray. Whoops. Sorry about that. Width. And that's another annoying thing. You have to put stuff in it for it to show the whole stuff, right? And then we can say height 500 px or whatever you want to do. And there's your basic little centered piece of crap. You can do some more. You'll notice that how at the top here you got some extra space. That's because by default the body has a margin attribute. So let's do it with the body tag this time. So style equals margin 0. Right, and that's the shortcut for setting all the margins to 0. Now some browsers will also have a padding default. So let's change that to 0 as well. And it should do pretty much nothing there. Right, so now you have no extra white space at the top. I guess I didn't really explain margins and stuff. So a margin is with the outside. So let's say margin, and it goes north, east, southwest, right? I hope you know your compass directions. So this would be your top, 5px, your right, 5px, bottom, 5px, and whatever, right? So refresh, and now, ta-da, moved it down 5 pixels. Padding is totally different. If we were to change this to padding, what would happen is it would move the content within the div 5 px's away, right? Notice how the word stuff stayed the same. Alright, so because of the center tag, you have a little problem. Everything from that point is centered. So how do we fix this? And my computer's bugging out. What we do is we change, or we add the attributes of text alignment. So text align left. Okay, and my alt, this must be my tab. So there you go. If you want to make it look a bit more prettier, you can put in spaces and stuff or whatever, just to make it look prettier and easier to read in the future. I personally don't do this because I don't have much trouble reading all of the styles and stuff, but you can do that and it's, you know, looks nice and pretty inside. Ta-da! So that's just a little formatting trick. Anyway, that's your basic little template. You can put in divs inside of it to do stuff like your head, right, and your body. And you can use whatever. Body, right? Head, body, whatever. And that's pretty much it for HTML. I guess I could go into more advanced things. Yeah, so just play around with HTML for a while and whatever. If you have any questions, comments, or whatever, you know, post it up on my blog and I'll get to answering it. And I guess in a day or two I'll do a tutorial on JavaScript. Anyway, this is Hot Noob, and come check out my blog at hotnoob.com.